Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inspire. I am your host, Sha Hayes. We are so excited, and Keyana is here as always. She is there, always handling the behind the scenes, and she's the founder of Inspire. She's, created this platform to again to bring people to share their journeys, so that we can have a way to be inspired by the journey they took to create their career. But today, have here with us a designer. If you were to look up fashion risk taker, someone who provokes all things that think about glamorous and fashion, this designer would be right next to him. He's dressed the likes of Vivica Fox and Noah Moore and Vanessa Williams and Jill Scott, just to name a few. I mean, he's an amazing design, and right out of the heart of Newark, New Jersey, which is even more amazing. You think fashion comes from Italy and overseas somewhere, but we have him right here on our soil, and we are so honored and happy to join us today with Marco Hall.
Hey,
hey, ladies, how are you?
How are you today?
I'm good. Glad to be here.
I said, I love the backdrop of all the fashions right behind you, just wanting to be worn.
Yeah. Come on over and try everything on. You can try it on. You can try everything on.
Yes. I'm going to get my South Beach dye because, in this pandemic.
Okay.
Marco, it's such an honor to have you. Thank you for being a part of the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yes. Sha, take it away.
Well, I love the fact that when, obviously the good thing about social media, you can look people up and see the, paths of like different designs. But I want to kind of take a stroll back to when fashion first set your soul on fire, when you decided it was going to be something that was going to draw you into what you wanted to do in life.
Oh, man. Well, for me, I never intended it to be a job, be anything. I always just wanted to be different for myself. I just want to set my own path of dressing. So I started creating stuff for myself, and it just snowballed into everything else that's going on in my world. I thought I was going to be a dancer once upon a time. So now I dance through my clothes. So that's how that went. But it definitely chose me. I didn't choose it. I said, I just want to look different. I always want to be an individual. So I started creating my own clothes for myself. Then my friends started asking. Next thing you know, it's now my lifelong career. It's my life. It's my everything now. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing that it was not something that just, as a child, you was like sewing and having design patterns and cutting your family's clothes up and recreating them. It was something that kind of chose you. So I guess when you think about being in a dancing world, what was it when you saw out far as for dancing attire that you didn't see that made you say, I probably need to do this myself? We lost volume.
Channel 13 is my teacher. You know what I mean? I was on Channel 13. It was my teacher. I was always watching Channel 13, learning all the ballets that was on and all that stuff. And on my 17th birthday, I got an audition at Juilliard. Got to the steps of Juilliard. I went by myself. I didn't tell nobody. Got by there by myself and realized I was afraid because I was by myself. I think if I had some encouragement of people behind me, I would have probably did it. So, but fashion was a part of me because I used to watch my great grandmother make quilts and stuff, and I would take stuff apart and put it back together. But it was just probably in me, but I didn't know that's where I wanted to be. And then as I got older, like I said, I wanted to create my own look. That's how I became. And then so dancing and fashion for me is the same because I do a lot of prints and patterns. And when you look at a print and a pattern, it dances. So that's the way I dance. I dance through my clothes. So therefore I'm still the dancer, but just in fashion. There we go.
I love that because so basically you like to create things that have a lot of movement and texture and have statements because, with dancing, there's a lot of that goes into it that can be expressed through dancing. So when you think about, I guess, a piece of an item that you first picked up that you said, this piece of clothing speaks to me, what was it?
I don't know. It was just the fact that I could create something that said me. That said me as an individual. And there was one piece of article or poem that said, this is it. It was just like every time I tried something new for myself, it just became a stronger obsession to I need to continue to do this and look and feel a certain way. Because it's all about feeling and looking a certain way for me when I was younger. That's all I wanted to do is look and feel a certain way. So, and that was it. So, yeah.
And you said your grandmother was there in terms of knowing the sewing part of it. Was she your early on, I guess, inspiration behind knowing how to sew?
It was my great grandmother. I'm going to say unconsciously, yes.
Mm.
Because I used to watch her make quilts, when I was in the South, because I'm from North Carolina. So watching her make
Okay.
quilts. So, but I was only like 5 and 6 years old then, when she was doing those things. So subconsciously, I think I was picking up things that I didn't even know I was picking up. Like I said, I would just take things apart and hand sew it back together, but just for fun, like basically mimicking her. And there, like I said, again, it just snowballed into my life. So yeah.
So then if you're now someone who's like looking at their life about being at Juilliard and wanting to dance, and this is part of what you wanted to do, at what point did you say, I want to take this on as a skill that I either want to teach myself or seek out training? What happened in terms of your path, in terms of learning how to actually design?
I have friends who are my two best friends, Tia and Tandra, and my friend Darren. They all were fashion students at the high school we went to. The teacher wouldn't let me in her class. So she said, the world's going to turn to computers. They ain't going to need no human beings. They just going to press a button. So you can't come to my class. You should just I was in like electrical engineering. I was doing electrical engineering. She's like, stay there. That's where the world's going to be, about electronics and computers. They ain't going to need us. But I'm like, like I said, again, wanting to look different and feel different. So I just kept doing things. And like I said, my friends were in class, so I was just watching them. I would go there every day just to watch what they were doing, how they worked the machine, how they would do things. It was just like picking up little things. And then I bought myself a sewing machine and said, well, you know what? I can't get in your class. I'll just teach myself. But I'll come to your class every day and pick up little tips. And that's what I did every day.
Wow. So just from being around it, and you were able to pick up tips of just learning how, and when it comes down to designing, I've always hear about pattern making versus actually just knowing how to sketch and then having someone create that for you. Did you have that skill set earlier on, or did you seek that out later?
I taught myself everything that I know, everything I do, I taught myself. By
really?
Trial and error. Yeah. Trial and error.
So no formal education that you took on.
No.
But that's great to know. Now, when and not trying to date you, there was a time where people couldn't just go to the internet and research. Now you can go online and become an engineer if you want to.
Right.
But so what resources did you pull in order for you to be able to find it?
And again, like I said, going up to the teacher was kind of always let me in her class. She said I was like her grandson. So she always let me in her class. She said, you remind me of my grandson. I was literally called her grandson. Everybody called me her grandson throughout my high school. But she would let me come to the class every day. She never stopped me from coming to her class. She just would not let me take the class. So by going to her class, I would just always sit there and, like I said, watch. And I bought myself a sewing machine. And like every now and then when she wasn't there, I'll sneak and sew. My friends would let me just sew. So, I'm just doing stuff and watching patterns and, how they would cut a pattern out and all that stuff. And like I said, I would come home and take things apart, like old shirts, old jeans, stuff that I ain't want no more. I'll take it apart and see how it works and put it back together. So that was my learning lesson, by taking stuff apart and putting it back together. So,
but that just goes to show that even though you taught yourself, there still was a gift and there was talents that were already in you. Because I think about the fact that literally there's a pair of pants I need to sew, and I keep like, I don't feel like doing this. But the fact that you taught yourself something that is like, people go spend thousands of dollars to be trained, to be taught how to do, that just means that was your purpose in a sense, to be able to create this.
Definitely. Like I always say, God He gave me this gift, and I use it every day. Even when I don't have nothing to do, I do it. Like it's a gift that I
We lost your sound again.
I don't put my phone on what you call it, but they keep somebody calling. But yeah, I use that gift every day. I use it every moment I can. Yeah.
So when you are getting to the point where you want to sit down and design, I know it's going through your page and thinking about different things that have happened over, the past year. What inspires you to create?
Oh my God, anything. Music, my friends, a piece of fabric. I always seek fabric out first when I'm creating. I always seek a piece of fabric, a print or something that speaks to me, and it just builds a whole collection. It builds a whole story. It's all about telling the story. For me, it's just I could be walking down the street and see something that I like, and it just inspires me, and I just go, okay, I want to create something. I might see something that you might have on, like now I might like your neckline, to go, that's interesting. Like, how can I make that work for me? That says Marco Hall. So it could be a little bit of anything. I'm always looking and searching the thing about people watching. So I watch everything around me. So, and how people dress and how people put things together.
Well, then that brings me to the thought in terms of like trends. Like as designers, there's certain things, like I know right now I see tie-dye everywhere. There's trends that come about. Like how do you feel the need to always incorporate that into some of your designs?
No. I don't do nothing I don't feel. I honestly can tell you, I don't make nothing I don't feel. Even when a client comes to me, if it doesn't move me, I really don't want to do it neither. Everything I do, I want to do that makes me feel good, especially when it comes to my craft. I'd like to do things that make me feel good. So when I do something for you, I want to make sure it's from a true place and not from a place of making a dollar. It's from a true place because I want to give you that piece of me. So yeah.
So when you have clients, which I know you have a roster of celebrities that you work with, but they come to you, are they entrusting that your vision is what they want and your aesthetic is what they have seen and know what you can create? Or they're like, I want to look like this and I want this to be like this, and my neckline to be like that. Or are you the one who give them the vision?
No, they give me I want your vision, but I'm going to critique your vision and make sure, because sometimes we think big. We think so over the top sometimes. Like, I can do this. I can have a hood. I have my back out. I have a shoulder. I can have no shoulder. I can have it short. I have it long. Women can go off the Richter with their thinking. So I have to reel them back in and tell them how it works and what fabrics work for what you're trying to do. So because some of y'all don't know fabrics. So you can't say, oh, I want all this. And you say, oh, I want this in a satin, and satin can't do none of that. You want the fit tight. You want to be stretched. You want to do this. You want to swing. And sometimes that stuff don't fit that way. So you have to reel people in and show them what will work for what they're trying to do. And editing is like just like right in the magazine, you got to edit. Everything got to be edited. So and with fashion, you got to edit too. So yeah.
And that's true, because that's the other thing too that I caution people in terms of people who will go to a seamstress versus a designer, because that happened to me. I was preparing for a photo shoot and I was like, I want this dress to look like this and I wanted to be this. And the person who I went to, she's a great seamstress, but she's not a designer. So when I got it, it was like a tent. Right. So it didn't give. So that's the thing in terms of people not realizing you know how to ask the question. So what are you trying to get out of this design? What are you looking for? Because this fabric versus this fabric won't work, and knowing those questions to ask. And that's the difference between going to someone like you who, have all of the understanding of that. So that's amazing. But we want to actually get into some of the designs you have created so that you can kind of get into the mind of Marco Hall to see when you were creating these looks, what inspired you and what went into creating this. So we're going to pull up a couple of looks and you kind of give us a little commentary on that. And I'll ask you a few questions too as well. So we just want to kind of get into that. So we have one here. Look now. I don't know if Keyana can take the frame out so that I'm not there. So she'll pull it out. Let me see. She's working on it. So take me out, Key. Well, anyway, while she's pulling it up, it's a look you created for Vanessa Williams, and it was a color that when I look at it, I was like, this is stunning, because I wouldn't think to myself, I'm always running to black. So what makes you, in terms of someone like herself, and then your design to create the color and the structure for this dress?
Well, the color it's about. It was just about the story that was told for the video they were shooting. So we chose colors that was broad for everyone. It was almost like a rainbow, but not a rainbow kind of thing. But nice, soft, pretty colors. Everything's about being glamour, like old Hollywood glamour, but still with a modern twist. So that's how everything came about for that. Because it was a group of women. It wasn't just her. It was a group of women that were dressed, and we did a whole story behind the women and what they should look like. It was like about kind of old Hollywood glamour kind of thing. So it just stayed in that frame.
Okay. So when you're talking about in terms of other women, did you have to consider other people, what they were wearing when you were designing for her?
Yeah. So it was a theme. The theme was already told in the beginning, so therefore it just went with the whole theme.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So it went with the whole theme like that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then we have our next design that we want to get some kind of inside of behind the scenes of this look. This And when I saw it, I mean, I don't never try to seem like I'm a knowledgeable about clothing in terms of outside of buying it myself. But I always understand menswear and women's wear is so difficult and different in terms of creating. And when you go into creating for men, how do you approach it? Or do you do it in terms of your same kind of thought process, or is it different?
Well, I dress men. Well, you know what it is. I have two good friends that I dress all the time, so I try to use their aesthetic with my aesthetic. So I dress my friend Yancey Edwards all the time. So he's very clean, clean and simple in his dress, but he's still like a little edge to it, but not too much of an edge. But where I like an edge, so therefore with the jackets you see that's on the screen, I like it. So it's a broad tail leather skin, and I left the edges raw, but the jacket is very clean. If you took the edges off of the raw edges of it, it's just be a straight, narrow box kind of jacket. So it's just about taking dimensions and making sure the dimensions are right for men. Because sometimes I don't like stuff that look too. I like menswear to look like menswear. Yeah. And nowadays everything's a little more fluid. I like menswear to look kind of more like menswear. So you know the difference in the wear. So that's how I like it. So when I design menswear, it's a lot more structure. It has a lot more detail. It's a little more. I don't step so far out the box like I do with women.
Yeah. And there's a lot more tailoring that goes into it because, women can be blousy and all that, but with men, you kind of need more structure in it. So that's when I saw that, I was like, oh, there's men's stuff that you do, but you were saying specifically because there's a certain aesthetic this person wants that comes with your design, and that's why they seek you out for that. Well, that's amazing to know that, because a lot of times, like I said, when I watch, everyone thinks that they have a knowledge about design. When you watch these kind of design shows, you feel like people just try to stay in a lane, and whenever they're being challenged by going over into men's or women's wear, it's like, so that's great that you have the balance of both things to be able to create.
Yeah.
So now, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was just saying, for that, you definitely, you gotta know how to do it all, but everyone, there's something that you're great at. I just know how to, I've learned to do it all. Like I said, I was doing men's wear before I started doing women's wear because I was dressing myself. So I kind of had the idea of it. And when I was doing shows from jump, I was doing men and women, but then I realized I make better women clothes. So I'm going to stay in the lane of women. And that's where I want all my skill in women's wear. But now I'm really back into men's wear because I'm loving it, and the men I'm dressing are enjoying what I'm putting on them. So, and I'm liking that so much more.
And we speaking of Yancey, looks like he's here watching, so that's awesome. So when we have another look we wanted to look at too, but I was gonna also ask in terms of seasons. People often think in terms of like certain looks are within a certain season. Are your designs around like a certain season? Is spring? I know like right now a lot of neon colors are like bursting out the seam. Everybody's wearing bright colors. Do you go into that in terms of creating looks just specifically?
No. I truly design what I feel. I truly design what I feel, where I'm at mentally, spiritually at the moment. And like I said, it's about a fabric. If I find a fabric that speaks to me, that's where I design from. And so if it's sheer, so be it. If it's wintertime and it's a sheer dress, put on a coat, put on a fur.
Right, I love it.
Like you're going inside, you ain't staying outside in the cold. So.
I love that though, because people make certain people who don't know about fashion. And someone said to me the other day, fashion is everywhere. Like there's no like written rule as it used to be. Like white, can't wear white, and you can't do this, you can't do. Fashion is everywhere.
All those things are thrown out the door. All those rules are thrown out the door. You can do what you want. I think people should be able to dress the way they feel. And what provokes them, and just how they should dress.
It makes them feel confident and comfortable. Because I know I'm all about what thing I don't gotta wear Spanx.
Okay.
That's my premise of where I started. So we have some more looks we want to try to pull up and see. I know Key's working on it behind. I'm gonna see if we have one more that we can look at. But see if you can pull it to the front so we can just see the design.
The denim tie-dye.
And so that's another thing. So when I see denim, it's always one of those things where you can I love how you can make denim like really high, like almost like a designer gown that you can wear to a ball, and you can also wear denim like to a ball game. So it's amazing how much you can do with denim. Do you find that it's like a playful fabric that you love going to?
it's definitely a fabric. It's a fabric that I like to transform, like the look that you just had up. So that fabric was interesting. That became there's an artist here. He's passed away on named Jerry Gant, and those are his tie dye fabrics. And we took a man's dress shirt and a pair of jeans, and I reconstructed to come this outfit that you see here. So it's a men's dress shirt and a pair of jeans reimagined into women's wear, basically.
That's great. I love that. That is so great. And then, it's just being able to, like I said, you can wear that on any red carpet, the look itself, to be able to take that look and go from that. And so you work with people because, you can create designs of actual fabric as well. Do you work with people in order to create your own fabric, or you just get from them?
Right now, well, I'm in the process of trying to figure out a fabrication that I want for myself. I definitely want to go into textiles because I love textiles. I love prints and all that stuff. So just been playing around where I want to be, especially with this whole pandemic thing, trying to figure out what's my new market.
Yeah.
I definitely want to approach fabrics more and fabrications because that's something I really like and enjoy the most. In fashion is textiles and all those different prints and patterns. I love that. Like that makes me in my happy place in fashion. Yeah.
I don't know if we have this look, but I know I saw Scott look that you did for afropumpkin, and I was just blown away. Like because it was just one of those things where it was so what she needed in that stage presence and performance. And I was like, so when you went there, how did you decide that you was going to go with like the mask and all that on the actual design?
Well, so funny. I did pieces like that first, and her Jill Scott stylist saw the piece, and he's actually a friend of mine named Steven, and he hit me like, Marco, I need that for Jill Scott. We need to reimagine that a look for her, and we need a jumpsuit. I said, okay, no problem. So we created this jumpsuit for her because it actually was made into the top half of that was actually made into a dress that I have. So we changed it from a dress to a jumpsuit. So. And and like I said, it was a magical moment. I found that fabric. It was in the corner of a store in the back, literally in the corner of the back, hitting. And I just happened to see something. I said, that looked like a face. And the guy's like, yeah. And I pulled it out. I was like, this is it. And I took the whole roll.
I love that. And I love the fact that you can be anywhere. Like I know one of my cousins who's like my fashion go-to person, my inspiration. Shout out to Paula. She always used to tell me, and I was like, how do you find these great pieces? She said, I shop everywhere, gas stations. Right. She's the one who told me that Walgreens has clothes in it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So she's like, that's how you find those like things that you won't see anywhere else because you're shopping everywhere. So now every time I'm at a rest stop, I'm like, let me see where the clothes section is. So.
Right, because there's always a great, like, especially when you go into a South, they have those great ponchos like Afghans and stuff like that. Beautiful, like, and it's like they're like for like $5, $10. You're like, wait a minute, like if I go to New York City, it's going to cost me like $200. Let me get this $5 thing right quick.
Now, do you when you go out and even just shopping for yourself or looking for things to create? Are you always thinking about reimagining it to some degree, or you're able to like, all right, I can take this and wear this. This is something I'll do, or this is something I can do for a client.
If I go buy something, like if I buy article or garment or something like that, I buy it as is. If I have to reimagine it, I might as well make it.
Right, you might as well do it yourself.
I might as well do it myself. If I have to reimagine it, then I need to make it myself. There's no need for me to go in the store and bring it home to recreate it. No.
Yeah. That's such a great thing. Well, we have our young designer and beauty consultant who is aspiring to walk in shoes like yours. So we want to bring her in. She has a few questions to ask you, and we would love for you to be able to pour into her as you can in terms of helping her through her journey and becoming a beauty consultant and fashion designer as well. So let's bring in Savannah.
Hey, Savannah. Hello, hi. Savannah. Hello. How are you?
Hi. I'm good. Hi. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So go ahead, Savannah, ask your question.
All right. So this is my first question. So in your deepest and darkest moments of climbing the ladder to the fashion industry, there must have been some times when you were like nervous or scared that something bad might happen and lost your confidence. So what would you say to keep your confidence up, and how could that help kids like me?
Okay. So I can be very honest. I never lost my confidence in my craft. I always dream when I first started. Once I make it big, I would never get to see it. I'll die. I used to always dream that, but then I got over that because I felt like I'm bringing on something that don't need to be in my vision, in my thoughts. I always tell anyone, if it's in you to be something, continue to do it. Don't be pressured to feel like you have to work harder because someone is getting it before you. Your time will come. What you're doing. I'll never forget. I was on the bus one day, and we was talking about fashion. I was about, I'm gonna say like 21, 22, and I was talking about I want to do this. I was doing this, and this man said to me, "Don't rush. Everything you're doing is preparation for what's to come. Take your time, because when it's your time, you'll be ready." He said, "Don't rush it. Take your time, and you'll be ready." So no matter what everyone else is trying to get or getting, when it's time for you to get yours, you will get it. And that stuck with me forever. And I always just take my time. I move at my pace and move at your pace. And never get discouraged. Don't ever give up. Don't think, oh, I can't do this. Because sometimes we all have I'm going to say writer's block. Sometimes we can't push out that look we want, that outfit we want, that idea we want, because we can't see it yet, because so many things are distracting us. So what you got to do sometimes is just stop. Put the paper down, put the pen down, put the fabric down, put everything down, and just stop and walk away from it. And when you come back, you'll see it. Because now you can, and sometimes, like for me, I lay fabric on the floor. I like to cut on the floor. Sometimes you might have to just lay the fabric on the floor and look at it from top and imagine what you want it to be. So therefore, each time you're working, you got to realize this is something new. This is a new adventure. So never think that, oh God, I didn't finish this when I said I was going to finish it, because maybe it wasn't supposed to be finished at that time because you weren't ready, because maybe there was something else you had to do with it or for it. So just take your time and never give up. Just work. Just continue to work. That's what I do. I just work.
Thank you so much. It really helped me also. I think it could help other kids to grow their self-esteem, because a lot of people or children are just like have low self-esteem, and I think that would really help them.
Thanks.
And Savannah, you had another question, right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So, what was your most memorable or wardrobe malfunction, and how did you go from a malfunction to a masterpiece?
Malfunction.
He's like, I'm perfect. I don't have malfunctions.
Wait, I'm not perfect. You know what? I don't know. I mean, there's been things that I had visions of what I thought it would look like, and it didn't come out that way. And I just kind of, like, again, you have to step away from it and rework it. So I sometimes, when you're in the zone, you think that this is going to be the look, or this is going to be the masterpiece, and you look at it going, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Well, you try it on your mannequin, and you try it on the model or somebody, it's like, nope, this is not it. Sometimes you have to just sometimes start all over, or take things apart and put it back together, reimagine it and put it back together again. Because every time what we put on paper or what we see in our head, sometimes it's not what we really see, So sometimes you just have to step back and restart all over again. That's it.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm pretty sure a lot of other designers could relate to that, especially kid designers. And I feel like that could really help.
Yeah. Definitely. Like I said, I tell everyone, be authentic to yourself, and just stay authentic to who you are, where you're trying to go. It's your path. It's not no one else's. No one can tell you need to work harder, faster, stronger. You should be here. You should be there. Your time is yours when you get there. And so I say to you, I say to all the young kids, everybody, this is where you want to be, this is your passion, your thing, work hard at it, be focused, but also realize that it takes time to get there. Because you see someone making on Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff, they can be a one-trick pony. Some people rest on what they used to do, not what they're doing now. See, I'm always about what I'm doing now. I don't care what I did yesterday. That was nice. I got the accolades for that. People saw it. Great. Where am I at now? Because I'm always about where I'm at now. So that's what you need to focus on. Like no matter where you at, no matter what people think where you should be, you should know know in your heart where you're at. And you ain't got to rush. You ain't got to rush. Take your time. Understand your craft. Each day you work on it, you understand it, you work on it, you work more, you understand more what you're doing. Like I said, I'm a self-taught designer, so each day was a learning lesson for me. Each thing I do now is still a learning lesson, because I don't know all the technical terms for fashion, but I know when I see it, I know what's right. I know what feels right for me. You know, and I'll never let no one tell me what ain't right for me for my fashion or my work. It's mine, you know, whether you like it or not, it's mine. So, you know,
I
just
love that.
enjoy your journey. And
Okay, I
again,
will.
don't let nobody discourage you. Don't let nobody say, "Oh, you doing this," or "Why you doing this?" Because it's my journey. It's not yours, and it's okay if you don't like it. It's okay if you don't understand it. It's fine. It's really
Mhm.
fine. Yeah.
Thank you for having me on the show, and thank you, Mr. Hall, for being such a great role model.
You're welcome, and thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
That's so amazing. Savannah, do you have any more questions at all?
Nope.
All right, well, wonderful. Thank you for joining us. You all make sure you look out for this young beauty consultant in the rise, and hopefully everything she's learned here today will
Okay,
be an
well, great
inspiration for
eyewear.
her. Yes, a great hour. That's
Great
right.
eyewear. Okay.
Well, thank you, Savannah. Thank you so much. And we had our audience coming on saying that we had Dale Harrison say that your advice was not only advice for fashion, but also a fashion for advice for life. So that's great that, you know, we're, like you were saying, even someone telling you don't have to rush into things, because that's, we always think, especially when we're comparing. I was telling another guest prior to that, we get caught up in that comparing to our life to what everyone else is and where they are in life. And so that always gets you feeling like, you know, if I'm not there, then I'm not accomplishing X, Y, and Z. So that's great that you were able to, you know, give that to her, because, you know, these young children feel like they have to be what they see on social media now.
Yeah, well, you know, that's what the world is. Everything. It's so funny. 2 years ago, a young lady walked in here for her prom dress, and she was so distraught. And I'm like, "What's going on?" She said, my girlfriend's on Instagram. She's doing this. She's doing that. She's doing that. I said, "Girl, you let Instagram determine where you're supposed to be." I said, "You should let that go." I said, "You're going to get to where you're supposed to be." I said, "Are you graduating school?" Yes. "Are you going to college?" Yes. I said, "You're doing everything you said you wanted to do, right?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "So why you worried about what your friend is doing? Because what she's doing ain't what you're doing. And it's fine. It's okay." But I see she doing all this. I said, "But is that where you want to be? If that's where you want to be, then you can follow her." I said, "But it's nice to be your own individual self. It's even better."
It's the
So,
best part of living, is being who you are, authentically are. So that's the
yeah.
great part about it. So
Yeah.
when I look through, like I was saying, scrolling through the Instagram in terms of your style and set that you provide, I was thinking to myself, like, well, have you ever had an opportunity? I know you do a Jill Scott being the plus size, but when people come to you asking you, like, I want this dress to look like can fit on me, although I'm not of the kind of styling of what you would see as models. Do you have to consult them and say, well, that's not going to work with you? Or you feel like you can always create a same look that you would for someone who's on a runway?
Well, yeah, you can. But again, you know, stuff that's on the runway is not real life. It's fantasy. So
Mm-hmm.
when they take it back and make it for real ready to wear, some of that stuff is cut out. A lot of things are changed to fit the real person, because the real person is not a size 6. She's not a size 4. She's not a size 2. She's a size 10, 12, 15, 16, 18,
Look, you come
20.
saying that.
Right. So you got to realize that stuff is fantasy, but we can achieve the look. Can't get the same exactly, but you can achieve it. It's definitely gonna be achieved. There's a lot of girls who come in here and they want certain things they see, and we work with your body, because your body tells a story. No matter what you say, it's your body. It's going to tell the story, and you got to make sure you have the right foundation, the right this. It was amazing when girls come here going, "I want my back out," but you still have to wear a bra. How you want your back
That's
out
not
with
your
a
life.
bra?
That's not your life, right? Yeah.
So you have to be realistic about what you want. Now we can make the same dress, but you have to put your back in. You can
Yeah.
have the same front. Can't have the same back. But people have to realize, what their body can really do. So, and I'm very honest about telling you what your body can do and can't do, because I never want to see you out, because you're a representation of me. So I never want to see you out looking like something you shouldn't.
No, and you need that, because I mean, nothing worse than just trying to make a sale just to make one, versus being like, nah, that ain't gonna work.
Right.
And it's like, would you go to the doctor and tell them, no, doctor, I don't think you should give me this medicine? I think, it's the same thing. Like, you're the doctor of fashion. Like, you want to tell people what's the best prescription for their body. Exactly. So, I would definitely be like, I'm listening to Dr. Michael. Thank you. Right. So when you, although you say you're inspired by what you feel, are there other designs or designers that you are like, oh my God, that is that
Yes.
they're out here doing it.
Yeah. Well, I love my favorite design. My all-time favorite design is Issey Miyake.
Mm.
Then it's Shadow of Ralph Rucci, and I love the theatrics of John Galliano and Alexander McQueen. But my true aesthetic would probably be Shadow of Ralph Rucci. I love the way he cuts. I love the way he played with fabrics. I love the way he played with texture. And so the Issey Miyake. I love the way they treat fashion as art. It's not so much that's all fashion. So sometimes I think I do pieces that I think has an artistic flair that could be more. You can hang it in your house or put it in your window, display it in your home as opposed to wearing it all the time. So I like to do pieces like that as well. So I love pieces that have that feel like it's an art piece. So.
And that's the thing when you think about certain things, like you were saying about things being the fantasy versus the reality of life, and being able to translate that over. Because, you know, when you see these runway shows, like I saw one of the images that you had on there where the guy had all the white and it looked like the women were like elevated off of the things. And I mean, there were some pieces I was like, it is amazing. I would love to see what that would translate like in real life. Now, you know, in terms of doing those kind of shows, how do you like go from that? And I think that's one of the things a lot of people don't realize. Like you said, the runway is one, and then the translation to what goes to market is completely different.
Right. Well, you know, when you do runway shows like that, there's a team behind with the buyers going, listen, well, this is this way, but this is what it's going to really look like when we start to sell it to the market, you know, because these are fancy pieces. These may be one or two or three of a kind, maybe one of a kind. It ain't going to never see the light of day. It's just for show and tell because they most times are couture shows anyway. So, and you buying that piece, you know you can only wear it once or twice anyway because it's just for show. So when you're doing ready to wear is just, you know, it's bringing it down to the simplest of forms and making sure that it can fit the masses and not just a certain demographic of people. You know, so I used to do a lot of party dresses. I used to be in the club kid scene. I used to hang around Patricia Fields and all that stuff, and that was the party scene then. And so I was known as the party girl dressmaker. You know, when I made dresses, like you want a party dress, go to Marco. You know, you're gonna use little that party dress. So I was known for that for a few years, like that dressmaker. He makes dresses, and that's all he did. And that's all I did for a long time, just make dresses. I wouldn't make nothing else because I was around that crowd. So if you wanted me for a dress, that's what you got, a party dress. So now having my boutique, I do, you know, I call the real women. You know,
yeah.
So
I saw that 45-minute dress you made. I was like, 45 minutes. It take me longer than that just to find out what I'm gonna wear to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing though.
Yeah.
That you were like, I mean, especially to be able to create and craft something like that in that period of time. But when you look over your journey of getting into fashion, coming from being dancing wise and then getting into fashion, what have you wanted to say as far as accomplishment wise that you have been proud of, that you've done, that you like, I did that. I'm so glad I was able to do that in my life.
You know what? Well, first off is this, having my boutique. I said I wanted a boutique, and when I got it, you know, it was a journey to get here, and it was a little bumps and bruises, but when I got it and I finally got my setting, which is now 7 years, will be 8 years, no, December 6th, be 8 years, I realized that I set on a path. I didn't never break from my journey. I did what I had to do. Even when my mother was like, get a job. You need a real job. You need a real job. You know, right now, you need a real job. You're not making no money doing this. You need a real job. You know, and I tried the real job thing for 5 minutes. But it just never was me. So, you know, the fact that I stayed true to my course, I stayed true to my path. I didn't let no one discourage me. Even at times when I don't feel like there's no money coming in, I still get up every morning, every day, and do what I do best. You know, it's like, you know, it's like you choose a path, you walk it, and there's always gonna be an obstacle. There's always gonna be something in your way. But you gotta realize, do you walk through that fire or do you walk around it? And you can go around it. It's just gonna take a little longer. So you just gotta figure out how you can get over the hump. You know, because ain't nothing worth having, not worth working for. So you have to work for it. And if you want to keep something, you got to continuously hone your skill. You know, this was a gift. So each day, this gift is something that I keep working on every day. I work on it every day. You know, even if I'm just talking about it, I'm working on it. You know, if I'm talking about the next best thing, I'm working on it.
So what would you say in terms of being a fashion designer, in terms of a challenge of coming out? Because a lot of times, like you said, people think, oh, get a job, that's not going to pay you no bills. What is one of the biggest challenges behind that?
Look, first, building a clientele,
Mm.
putting out quality work, making sure that people see you. You know, we're saturated now with fashion designers. Everybody's a fashion designer. They make a T-shirt and a baseball cap. They think they're a fashion designer.
Ooh, come on.
We're saturated with fashion design. You know, you put your name on a sweatsuit that you got off of 23rd Street after wholesale district. You think you're a fashion designer.
Yeah.
So it's the competition. You're competing with someone who doesn't even know the craft because they can put a logo on something. So you really got to stay true to yourself. You got to build a clientele. You got to stay true to your craft. You know, I used to tell designers, you know, they see someone else making something and they making money from it, and then they'll try to do the same thing. But where's your voice? If you're copying them, you don't have a voice. You got to make your own voice. And there's someone who's going to recognize you. You know, you got to reach out to stylists. You got to reach out to publicists. You got to reach out to people who can help you further your career. The photographers, makeup artists, where y'all can do collaborations where you both can build each other up. You know, you can't do it alone. So you got to find someone to help you build. You know, and some people get teams and some people work by themselves, you know, but you still have to collaborate with people to make things work for yourself. The hardest thing is really staying true to yourself and finding your niche in this game, you know, and never giving up, because people give up so quickly because they think, well, I'm not doing this. I'm not right here. I'm not making this much money. But if you want it, you work at it to get it. But you have to build. It's called building.
Had you ever thought about going on any of those design competition shows to kind of, you know, create another platform of that?
Well, so the second season of Project Runway, I'll tell the quick story. I'm going to tell it quickly. The second season of Project Runway, I was number 30. I was the only one that sewed. Get that word. The only one that sewed, and the only one who sold his own clothes. I was there. Got through the process, got all the way to Tim Gunn. He looked me up and down and said, "You're not what we're looking for." But I was the only one that sold out of the 30. The first 30 people. And 2 people before me got chosen. They don't sew at all.
So do you feel like, because I often feel like those, they're trying to create a story. Like we had a EP on here a couple episodes back, and she was saying how as much as we think that all this stuff is just, you know, created by the talent of characters on the show, a lot of it are the writers. So the writers are going to say, we want to get everybody who don't know how to sew, so we create this drama. So do you feel like that part of it played into it? Of course, you know, we know you're talented to where, you know, that could have been the reason why, to where now there are other things. I know Netflix has one now. There's one on this channel, that channel that has these competition shows. Would you ever try it again?
No. I don't have no desire for that. Because I don't need you to define me. And I find, like, when I watch some of these shows, they're always trying to find, like you said, a story. And I came up here to create and to design. I don't need my backstories. I know my friends like, well, people need to know who you are, so they want to know a little bit about you. Know about me. I don't need you to know about my mother in the hospital. My aunt just broke her leg down the street. My cousin fell down the block. I don't need you. Like, you know, they bring all these stories in. I'm like, well, I just want to see them create. From a place of creating. And if you're giving me all that, if you're trying to pull up my backstories, how do I create in a space of clarity right now? Because you brought all this other stuff into where I'm trying to go. Yeah, no,
that's so true. That is so true.
So for me, like, I love the shows. I watch a few of them just to see where people are at, where the creativity is at. But I don't have no desire anymore to do it, you know. And I've been asked a few times, but I just say no at this point.
No, you're like, no, I'm good. You're like, I'm good where I am. So what do you think in terms of the marketing side of the fashion, in terms of, like you said, being a designer and creating and connecting to clients and publicists? You know, I mean, I'm assuming you created a relationship where people come to you now, but for someone just starting out, how do you get there? How do you, I mean, social media is one aspect, but how do you get to those relationships?
Well, you know, again, like I say, photographers, hairstylists, makeup artists. Befriend these people. Y'all are building content together. So, and you never know who knows who. So, you know, you shoot with this photographer and he might know someone. So whose work is that? And they go, well, this is so-and-so work. Well, how do I get in touch with them? Because it's all a networking thing. So it's a whole networking thing. But you have got to be consistent. So some people just rest on, again, their laurels of what I did yesterday. But people still want to see what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
So you got to consistently work. You just got to consistently work and put yourself out there. And I tell them, put yourself out there, but stay true to your aesthetic. Your aesthetic is the aesthetic that people will recognize. If you don't know who you are, no one else will know who you are. So no matter how much you see your boy getting, your girl getting it, if people can't see your voice and hear your voice in the midst of all that, it doesn't even matter. Because if you're doing the same thing your friend doing, if I think your friend stuff is better, I'm going to your friend. I ain't going to go to you.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And so that's a great thing about, in terms, like you said, knowing yourself and knowing who you are and your design. And so that way you're not trying to, let me look through and see what everyone else is doing and try to replicate that. So that's really good for advice for people to know that in life and like in fashion as well. But what do you, I guess, with everything you have accomplished in your career, you have to have some things as far as goals wise that you still want to achieve. What are those?
Well, I definitely want to start teaching more. That's one. Two, I think I'm ready now to, I love custom. I love the relationships I build with people, but I also now realize with what's going on in the world, like now branching out and doing stuff like more mass market stuff, getting stuff manufactured, all that stuff. So now it's just about relearning where I'm supposed to be in this game. Because right now, again, we got sidetracked with the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it forced me to figure out a new way to make things happen, as far as my career goes, as far as holding on to my store, holding on to the lifestyle that I like, all that stuff. So, it's like, okay, now we got to figure out a new way because people are shopping more online. People are, not even trying to leave their house if they ain't got to, if they can shop online and get the size and the stuff they want. So now I need to be a part of that world as well at this point.
Yeah, because like you were saying, in terms of people being able to go and click onto your Instagram or wherever they're finding stuff on social platforms and being able to say, oh, I'm going to buy that, so that's a thing. But a lot of your stuff is custom. So it's not like you have a mass production of like certain dresses. Right. So that, but that's the beauty in what you offer, because you don't want to be. I mean, I can remember going out somewhere and somebody had the same outfit on as me, and I went back home and changed. So
okay, see that was the problem I always had. I didn't want to look like nobody. Made sure that was not going to happen.
Yeah,
I tried to make sure that was going to happen. If I saw the same thing, I'm like, you about to go home. I was like, my day is done.
Yes, done. I'm leaving. Really, this party's over. That happened to my mother-in-law the other day. She went to a party. She's so sweet. She's like, "Oh, girl, I walked up to her, took a picture with her." I said, "Girl, you kind," because somebody.
I was away 2 weeks ago. We were going on 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, and my friend, we was at a pajama party. And like 4 people had the same exact outfit he had on.
Child, I would have been mad. But see, this is
they all shopped on Amazon, girl. They
really?
all shopped on Amazon.
Amazon gets people set up now.
Exactly.
But it's one of those things where I always tell people this is the reason why whenever I go somewhere, I have to have multiple choices, because I never know what mood I'm going to be in. Like, like you said with fashion, like it's about you feeling, the fabric that's kind of talking to you. Like, to me, it's no different than getting dressed. I mean, it's different because your process is probably much more intense. But it's definitely one of those things where your creativity is probably more intense, and all those kind of things kind of go into that. Yeah. But we love to have our guests be able to give advice to those, and you have given so much throughout the show, but we would love for you to, for any designer or anyone looking to start a business like you have in terms of opening up a storefront, because even that is a grave accomplishment to be able to do, to give them advice about how to get started and where to start in life in that aspect.
Well, first and foremost is to know your customer. You got to know who your customer is. People feel like, I got money, I can open something up, but you got to realize that you got to keep that afloat. So who is your customer? Who are you selling your wares to? Whatever you're trying to sell. Who is that person? Who do you want to connect with? Who do you want to see you and see your brand and see your vision and see your store? Because there's a lot of 99-cent stores, but there's some that always carry a little bit more than others, or something that someone don't have. There's a lot of boutiques that carry certain things, and there's that one boutique that carries everything that you might be looking for. So we go to Macy's. There might be a Macy's in the Macy's in the mall that carry one thing, but there's a Macy's in Upper Mount Clair that carries something completely different. So you got to figure out who your customer is and what you're trying to sell. For as far as opening your own business, you have, as a designer, know who you are, know your aesthetic, know your customer, know what it entails to keep keep things afloat. You got to know your overhead. You got to know all. It's a whole bunch of things that go into your overhead, your lights, your rent, paying yourself. Like it's a whole big process. It's just not like, oh, I'm gonna open a store today and I'm gonna make it happen. You really have to realize, like, who got your back to help you with these things? Who helped you with marketing? Who's your marketing team? Who's your street team? Who is your advisor? You always need someone in your corner who can help you see things that you can't see. Who do you really trust? Who's going to be working for you? So, are you working for yourself? Like it's like a whole. Even for me, still a learning process. Like, oh my God, I still got to do this. I still got to do that. I still got to do this. I still got to get the. Not like you need your tax ID number. You need. You need your bank account. You need. Oh, it's just so much. You got to make sure you file your taxes at the end of the year or whatever. It's a whole bunch that goes along with it. But I just say, if you are getting into this, just know your customer, know who you're trying to relate to, who you're trying to seek, because that's going to be the people that keep you afloat. And when you get a customer, stay true to your customer. Appreciate them. Don't push them off. Don't give them nothing shoddy. Give them what you will give yourself. When you walk into Gucci or you walk into Prada, you want a certain kind of service. That's what you got to give your customer. A certain kind of service. So.
Yeah, but they also got to be the kind of people that's going to actually come in and spend a couple $1,000s. I know I can't come in there with my 99-cent budget and be like, I need you to shut down the shop, please.
Well, true. This is true too with you now. Well, I'm just saying, you just have to really just be able to relate to your customer and make sure that you please your customer and the people you're trying to get to come in to spend. You got to give them and build the atmosphere. Ambiance is everything. When you build the ambiance of when people walk to your space, you want them to feel like they want to be there. They want to spend their money.
And because even when I'm looking at the backdrop of where you are now, I'm sitting here like peering at the designs behind you, thinking to myself, like, I want to get closer to them. So I can only imagine being in that intimate space where, like you said, that mattered to people to want to come in and be able to look at stuff and want to be able to have it on them. So when and just we briefly talk about the store where you're located, so people can find that location, because you are in Newark, right?
Yes, I'm at 29 Halsey Street, downtown Art District of Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah,
right downtown. You can't miss me. If you go to NJ Pack, I'm right here. If you go to the Newark Museum, I'm right in between both of them. So if you go to the museum, to NJ Pack, you pass me right on by. So I'm right here, $20.
That is so great. Because the thing about it is, people always think they have to go over to the city. Oh, I got to go to the city, go to the city. So the fact that there's right there in the heart of Newark, right there where you can go over and find pieces. Now, when people see the pieces that you have behind you, if someone says, I need this, but you have it in this size, will you create that for them? Yeah. Or you? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we do here. We take your measurements, do a full consultation, and we'll create the magic for you.
Oh, well, listen, like I said, this South Beach dive about to come, and I'm about to be right over there now. We got some red carpet events. I know I feel it in my spirit. I'm like, this is a Marco Hall, so it's coming.
Come through. You can definitely have it.
Well, we are so happy and honored to have you join us. I know Keyana was so excited, and I was like, "Oh, Marco's coming!" I was like, "That's amazing."
Okay, so thank you.
So yes, I really enjoyed the interview. Thank you, Marco, and thank you for inspiring Savannah. I think she actually.
I was happy to do it. It was a pleasure, definitely a pleasure. It was a surprise to me. It was a pleasant surprise. I'm happy to do that.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, again, tell everyone where they can find you or your social media. You have a website, and so they can make sure to connect you.
Social media. Website is marcohall.net, www.marcohall.net. Social media is Marco Hall. Everything is Marco Hall. You can find me at Marco Hall and Marco Hall Designs on Twitter. Marco Hall Designs on Twitter. Then Marco Hall on Facebook, Instagram, and all that stuff.
And then nothing else, they can Google you because you know.
You can just Google me. You can find out whatever you want about me, just about. Anyway,
that's right.
As long as they come to my work, you can find out.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you so much, and thank you for sharing your journey with us, and also pouring into young Savannah and giving her some of your words of wisdom. So we thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yes, so welcome. Thank you, girls, for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And we'll be down at the store.
That's right. Come on down. If you just come to play dress
and
up.
You open, right? So we can come right on in. Like it's okay.
Yeah, right on in.
Okay, all right.
Ring the doorbell. Look, ring the doorbell.
We'll be there.
Yes, indeed.
I need a consultation. I need to know what I can wear, what I shouldn't be wearing. Come on through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, my over the summer, me and a fellow model going to start doing etiquette classes. Just teach women how to present and all that good stuff.
That's a great idea.
I'll keep y'all posted.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
Definitely target. Sure. Well, thank you again.
You're welcome.
And thank everyone so much for joining us tonight. We were so happy to have Marco come on and to share with us his journey from dancer to designer, and knowing that his work is about creating movement. And so that's so great to hear, and knowing that he's doing that, and also making sure that our youth are being inspired by his journey as well. But if you know of anyone who wants to come on and be inspired or talk about their journey and inspire others, please email us at inspirebyanonis@gmail.com. Make sure you're following us on all social media. And that's Inspired by Anonis on all platforms, from Facebook to social media. We need to get on TikTok. I feel like we need to do a TikTok, Key. Well, we need to get on there. And also remember, we have shirts, guys. We have some shirts. Key, go to the video. Just show them, Key. Show the video.
I just want to give a shout out to Sha Hayes and the crew at Inspire. You guys are amazing. Thank you for the t-shirt. Keep inspiring. I'll be right there with you.
And that was the amazing and fabulous Tanya Cryer, who gave us a shout out. She's a talented hair designer for TV and film, and so we were so glad that she was able to get a shirt and be able to rock that. So if you want to wear a shirt and be a shirt that says Inspire on it and rock it anywhere, because I think you could dress it up and dress it down, and make sure you definitely follow us and DM or send an email and inquire about getting a shirt from us. And also, if you want to support the show, come on down with a Cash App. $ at Keyana Tennant on Cash App. Make sure you use the $ Keyana Tennant, and it's 2 N's in the beginning and an N at the end. So make sure you put all that at the end if you want to support the show. This platform is, a great place for us to connect to people and their journeys about their careers, and also a place for our youth to be inspired and for us to continue. We would love for you to continuously support the show. And again, if you know anybody who wants to come on, plus definitely email us. But until then, we thank you all for joining us. Be well, and remember, we inspire together.